Halo 5 has arrived. Hex, let's suit up and save the galaxy one more time.
They're gonna hate us. You know that, right?
Nobody lets the chief do anything. He does what he wants.
117, stand down.
I mean, how are you even supposed to bring them in? Ask politely?
This is your one chance to come home peacefully.
I have a job to do.
I am the Warden Eternal. You came scampering.
Hex, those Spartans sure know how to make an entrance.
Yeah, it's quite an introduction, but nevertheless, we're going to be very careful to avoid any spoilers.
5 colonies have experienced identical events.
After a bunch of colonies get destroyed by a mysterious Forerunner force, Master Chief and his team of Spartans have to go AWOL to try and track down the cause of it all.
Negative 117. You're to return to Infinity immediately.
Negative Infinity. I don't like it.
Meanwhile, another group of Spartans called Fireteam Osiris try to track down the chief and bring him in.
Sir, you are absent without leave. This is your one chance to come home peacefully. Blue team, stand down.
And in this team is Nathan Fillion, aka Buck. It's nice to see some next-gen Nathan Fillion, Hex.
I figure if God can hear how scared I am, so can everyone else. Buck, you buying first drink when we're done?
We saw him just the other week in Destiny, though.
Yeah, as a robot. Here he's so detailed, I feel like I can reach out and touch his face.
He's a bit of a rubbish Spartan, though, isn't he? Always bringing up the rear and failing to make jumps.
Oh, hell.
But I think for what he lacks in speed, he more than makes up for with witty quips and dreamy good looks. Come on.
I love being an ODST. Just point and shoot. None of this gray area BS.
Well, anyway, the campaign plays out similarly to Halo 2, where you jumped between the Chief and the Arbiter. Except now you'll be spending your time jumping between Master Chief's blue team and Locke's Team Osiris.
We get through this, I'll buy the whole damn bar.
But you don't actually jump between them that much, do you? Because out of the game's 15 missions, you only play a whopping 3 as the Chief. 3, that's right. I can already hear the screams of pained Halo fans out there, Hex.
Yeah, this is going to be the most divisive Halo yet, I think, and not just because of a Chief deficiency. There are a few things here that I think will rub fans the wrong way.
I'm down.
Yeah, they've actually messed with the formula for the first time, and when you mess with a much-loved formula, you're probably going to upset some people.
Yes, but times move on, and sometimes good formulas are much better after a good messing with. But the question is it a good mess or a messy mess?
Well, my first impressions had me a bit worried. Let's break it down. One of the big changes is you can now aim down the sights of any gun, which I actually quite like as a feature in general, except that by default they've mapped it to the left trigger. Hex, since the dawn of Halo, that left trigger has been reserved for the almighty grenade.
Heresy. It feels a bit off, doesn't it? And it's hard not to take it as some blatant appeal to the COD crowd.
But of course, you can just switch it back in the options menu.
Yeah, but it's the principle of the thing.
Yeah, the principle.
It's the principle.
Yeah. That core Halo experience is still here in true form. With that sweet combat and vehicular mayhem all set to the backdrop of gorgeous sci-fi vistas and epic music. It's a winning combo.
Yeah, plus it's great to be playing through beautiful alien environments that are so bright and colourful.
Yeah, it's so pretty, isn't it? And I actually like a lot of the other changes. Everything feels a lot faster. You now have unlimited sprint, and you can mantle up things, which makes jumping around much smoother. And they've built considerably more verticality into the levels, which encourages a lot of clambering.
There's also a thruster pack, which is really satisfying to use when quickly dodging out of the way of danger or for getting up into people's face with the shoddy.
Thruster packs are so in right now, Hex, and they also feel really intuitive in the midst of battle, dodging about. And beyond simply letting you dodge around, they also bring a trio of new abilities into play. They'll help you smash through certain walls, which can unlock new paths through levels or hidden weapon stashes. And if you aim down sights mid-air, they'll let you hover long enough to get a couple of shots off. But best of all, they give you the ground pound.
Yes, it is super satisfying to burst off a cliff, charge it up, and just rain Spartan down on the fools below.
Definitely. I was always trying to find new areas I could climb up to just so I could use it. Especially on those jackals. Those shields aren't so useful now, are they? Huh? Stupid jackals.
Well, that's all the good stuff, but I think a lot of the controversial changes will start to pop up when we talk about the co-op. First of all, there's no split-screen co-op, which has always been a staple of the Halo games, so understandably a lot of fans are upset about that.
Yeah, and they have said that it was impossible to put split-screen co-op into this game because it all runs at 60 frames per second, which is what the engine relies on. Firstly, it's fantastic that this is the first Halo game, not counting the Master Chief Collection, to run at 60 frames per second. Like, it is beautiful to look at. It's buttery smooth. And personally, I don't really play these kinds of games in split screen at home with friends inside my house, so I'm totally happy with that compromise. But on behalf of those who have friends and want them inside their house to play games with, I am bothered on behalf of them.
Yes, and cooperative play is very much a big focus of this game, so you will just have to play online with friends or, with the AI.
Thanks, Spartan.
Even when you're playing solo, you'll always have your team of Spartans fighting alongside you, creating a quasi-co-op experience.
And a lot of the game is designed around co-op tactics. For example, some enemies have weak spots on their back that you have to hit. It can be a bit of a pain when you're playing solo though, since your AI buddies just don't seem to ever draw much aggro or actually shoot the weak spots when they have the chance.
Push up.
You can order your squad to a specific location or to direct fire on an enemy, which can be helpful.
Team, get on that hostage.
Sure.
But even when you do, they're still terrible at going for those weak spots. I will say generally they are quite good AI companions though. It's just those weak spots are a weak spot for them.
Blue team, I need support.
Another big change is that now rather than dying straight away when you lose all your health, you just fall over and have to order your Spartans to come revive you before you bleed out.
I'm up.
And this really changed the stakes of a battle for me, Hex. You just rely on this safety net. It's so easy, even on the second highest difficulty.
It just seems odd to me that you actually have to order your Spartans to come and revive you. I mean, you can just take it for granted that I want to be revived, guys. You don't have to wait for me to ask.
I need support.
But Hex, I get why they've made this a really co-op focused game, but I think that co-op design actually weakens it for the solo lone wolf Halo player. It's just not as much fun playing with AI buddies.
It is still a very strong campaign though, I think.
Oh, absolutely. It's a lot of fun, but if I'm being picky, it doesn't really have that big memorable moment that the series is known for. Like in Reach, when we got to fly spaceships for the first time. Or how Halo 4 let us pilot a Pelican. Fun new stuff.
Well, there were those missions where you can't shoot and you just walk around and talk to people.
It's back.
Right as I left, that ship flew past in the other direction real low.
You saw a ship? Any markings?
Pound glass, UNSC. It's not my problem if your buddies didn't tell you where they parked. You ought to synchronize your drop zones better next time.
I mean, we haven't seen that in a Halo game before.
And for good reason. I get that they're trying to make this universe feel a little more lived in, but those missions hardly got the blood pumping.
Understand?
Let's talk about the story. What did you think overall, Hex? No spoilers.
Well, overall, I think it can be a little overwhelming. I mean, there's just so much going on in this universe now, with loads of games and comics and books and miniseries and every kind of media there is. I mean, I personally would have appreciated a previously on Halo wrap-up just to bring me up to speed with all the relevant plot points.
Yeah, it does feel like they're getting bogged down in their extended universe, which I would bet that the vast majority of people aren't keeping up with. It's great to have all that stuff in there for hardcore fans, but not if you lose everyone else along the way.
Chief, look.
I think the biggest issue for me, though, was that the villain here has some pretty murky motivations that don't align well with that character. So I kind of found this whole story a little hard to swallow, and I think a lot of fans aren't going to appreciate the direction they've gone with.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean, but if we say any more, we'll spoil the pants off this game. There's some pretty big stuff that goes down, but it definitely feels like the middle of a trilogy storyline.
I wonder, have the Covenant been coming through with them?
They're setting things up for future games, so it'll be interesting to see where they take it next.
Now, at the time of recording this episode, the multiplayer hadn't gone live yet, so we're only looking at the campaign for today. But we will check out the multiplayer next week and deliver our final verdict then.
And to be honest, we're still feeling a little burned after the online issues with the Master Chief Collection. And multiplayer for Halo is such a big part of the game. We're happy to wait until it launches and make sure it all works well.
Well, based on just this campaign, what would you score it for now?
I think we have been a little harsh on Halo this time around, Hex, but that's only because they've set the bar so high for these games. This is a pretty standard Halo campaign, but it's also a lot of fun, so I'm giving it 4 out of 5 stars for now.
Yeah, 4 seems like a good placeholder to me.
I used to be real good at quantum theories once, but then I got way into throwing grenades. I think it was a pretty smart decision, since so much of doing war is knowing when to throw grenades at something.